Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. Tonight, episode 57, and I'm just realizing we have been at this a long time by our standards, I think. So tonight we wanted to kind of chat to you guys and get some opinions about an idea that we were thinking about, and hopefully get some feedback from our regular viewers there, and hopefully some new ones about your thoughts and opinions to maybe help us progress a little bit forward with our idea. So that being said, you got a better grasp on it than I think I do, Ben. So why don't you try to explain it just a little bit, and I'll try to add in my 2 cents where I think I can offer it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, this is a very early thoughts, but we feel that there might be a niche here and a niche, especially with everything that's going on. But both of us have spent quite a bit of time surfing the net trying to find good products at good prices, or reasonable products at reasonable prices, I guess is what we're trying to say. And we find some pretty good gems sometimes, little things that we really like, and the odd piece of something that looked really good but turned out to be like of much more shoddy quality than we expected, especially for what we spent. And what we were thinking about, because I've been talking to a few people over the last while about different ideas of what can you do for businesses and stuff. And what really kind of made a lot of sense to me from what we do already and what's out there right now is selling things on our website, because we have a website. We don't overly utilize it yet right now, but it's there. And we run our podcasts and stuff through it. And what we talked about is finding products that we like, that we enjoy, reviewing them so that our viewers can see what they are, what they're about. And if we enjoy the product, if we feel it's good value for the money and it's actually something that's usable, putting on our site so you can buy it through us. And if the product isn't good, we'd still do reviews on it, but we wouldn't back anything we don't honestly like. This would be something that would be fully through us, as in using a system I think called drop shipping. So somebody else manufactures it and sells it. We link you to those manufacturers and they directly sell it to you. So hopefully what we would be able to do, I think, is find good products, test them ourselves, and then make them available to viewers so that they can know where to get it and have a sense of security in when they get it, knowing what they're getting, having seen what we think about it and our thoughts. And we're just wondering what people out there think. Would they buy something that we said we thought was really good and we stood behind? Or do they think me and you are full of it and just good for our entertainment value? And maybe they're just here for our looks, because, really, I think that could be a fact.
I think that's entirely a fact. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think I haven't broke any computer screens yet, so it can't be that bad. Camera still works.
Wow. I,
But
I got a hell of a lot of lumels just to try and get this image this bright.
we were having a little technical issues, classic Atlantic bushcraft. But to elaborate a little on Ben there, and I guess to add my 2 cents for what it's worth, we're not just talking about your little gimmicky items, although as well we would be doing some of that. Don't get me wrong, a good item is a good item, but some of those difficult items that are just, you never really know before you buy them. I mean, you can do so much research, but you're still taking a gamble, and we're trying to take a little of that out of it. So we're thinking like sleeping bags, tents, packs, fire starters, like little survival kit, like things related to our topic, of course, but like Ben said, trying to get the best bang for your buck, making sure you're getting a good quality item for the money you're paying. Because I don't know about you, but Ben and I have talked about this, and we have both had that instance where we bought something that was really cheap on Amazon and it was amazing. And we both had the instance where we paid probably more than we should have for an item on Amazon. And I'm not picking on Amazon. Don't get me wrong. Amazon just happens to be our medium at the time. we've bought items that we probably paid a little too much for, and we just did not get the value out of it when it came back. Like, I'm trying to think of one. I paid quite a bit of money for a backpack. Not my recent one, but once upon a time I bought a backpack, and it was supposed to be, the bee's knees, the cat's meow. It was $100, and when I got it, it probably wasn't worth $20. Honestly, quality wise, it fell apart. And
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I've had similar experiences and stuff that I've often seen that looks kind of cool, but I couldn't find any information about it. And what we're basically saying is we're willing to take the risk on items. We're willing to find items that we think look cool and purchase them, bring them in, and then show them to people, discuss them, try them, test them, break them if that's what needs to be done. And I mean, that's on us. That'll be our money. We're not expecting people to provide us the money to do this. But if we find good products, we would stand behind it. We would put them up as something that could be bought. And if somebody wants it, I mean, we're not forcing anyone. We don't have that power. Trust me. But if someone wants it, they can buy it with a bit of assurance that we've at least tested it to our ability, and we think it's a pretty good product. And it's just an idea. It's we find here in Atlantic Canada that we are kind of limited in where we can get stuff. I mean, Amazon, yes. I mean, we can all buy through that. Canadian Tire doesn't really serve the bushcraft industry very well. It's more leaned towards your average.
Not laughing at you, laughing at Troy.
Yeah, but it's geared towards your average car camper, guy who's camping at a provincial park. Not knocking that type of camping, but a lot of bulkier items, heavy items that don't work for more backwoods stuff. Can you find gems there? For sure. Mech really isn't into this either. They sell to a slightly different class than I think we are. Some of their products are definitely usable. A lot of it, I think, is overpriced. Good quality stuff, but high price even for the quality you're getting. So what we're looking for is things that are a solid price and a solid product. This stuff can be found in the more deep recesses of the net, but you do have to look for them, and that can be the fun and terrifying part of that type of shopping. I'm missing these messages. I didn't open that side of my.
So Troy said, "You're in a different room. What's up with that? He doesn't like change."
Sorry, Troy. I'm upstairs. I've been kicked out of the basement. In this whole, I don't mean to talk about COVID-19 too much, but in this whole COVID-19, I'm stuck in the house a lot more, and we've literally been tearing the house apart and fixing things as we go. We just bought some more lights, or one set of lights in the basement. We're really liking that. That's probably going to go down, get another one down the basement. We're going to fix a lot of the lighting problems we got down there, and I will probably be back there in the next 2 to 3 weeks after a next check, and I get more money for lights. But yeah, we put one of the washer and dryer in deep freeze down there, and man, is it nice. So more changes to come. But in the meantime, I got a little desk set up here. I've been working at home from here, and this is a more comfortable spot to sit. I got a nice comfy chair, almost like yours.
I was going to say, you had a couch before. How is that better?
Did have a couch.
You had a couch downstairs, didn't you? I thought you were on a couch for a couple of our shows.
It is a couch.
Yeah.
And it's a couch that actually has an air mattress built into it. So when you want to have like guests come in, it's a full queen size bed. It's massive. It's awesome too. Big electric pump on it and all that. But no, I mean,
speaking of mattresses, that would be another thing that we would potentially be looking at on this website is, well, not full inflatable mattresses like you would get at Canadian Tire, because I think, as Ben said, they fill the niche for those. More like what Ben had
those
recently...
compact ones like I bought this year. I really liked those. They were more comfortable than I expected. The Highburn 8 that I bought was sort of a different brand that I was used to. it's only probably 2 inches at its thickest, and it's a whole bunch of little pads. But I've slept in 6-inch inflatable mattresses that I didn't find as comfortable as this thing.
And that's the thing. You're getting a good quality for the money you spent. Because I think that was somewhere around 70, $80, wasn't it, like that?
Yep.
So, I mean, that is above the price point where people would really want to take a risk on something. But
Yeah.
if you had somebody like myself or Ben saying, you know what, we already bought this, we tested it, we think it's good, at least you have a little bit of that backing that item up. You're not going in completely blind. Because, I mean, I like your T-shirt. How much? These T-shirts? What did we decide on these, Ben? I can't remember. What did we decide for cost on these?
Text away.
I'll get back to you, Troy. But yeah, that's the whole idea behind this. Is because, like Ben said, it's a niche. It's going to be tailored to more like you folks out there listening to us. That crazy bushcrafting kind of niche where you're not like high-end mountaineer scaling the peaks of Everest and you need to go to Mech to buy something that's good to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and it can, or a stove that can boil water at 15,000 feet above sea level. It's more realistic, like, but you're not, or sorry, let me back up. You're not to that level, but you're above the level of, say, going to Crappy Tire, grabbing a bunch of stuff, and going to the trailer park. You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of in that in-between niche. Yeah, Troy, there's the T-shirt. There's the back of it. The front, of course, says Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures, but the back there. And these are all 100% made by Ben's wife there. Missy, what's it called? Missy G Works? Is that her company name?
Missy G Maker or something, I think.
Missy G Makes.
Missy G makes.
Yeah, I thought it was Works. But yeah, Missy G Makes. She does all the work for these. It's great work. They're holding up good. I mean, I've been wearing mine every single show since I got it. And, I mean, it don't look any worse for wear.
Honestly, he hasn't taken it off since he got it.
Nope. It's my undershirt. It's always on now. The wife, I'm not taking it off until it starts changing color. You remember the old story about karate, how you got new belt colors? You had to sweat until it turned that color? Same kind of idea. When this turns white, I'll get a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the whole idea behind this thing is we want to take some of the guesswork out for you guys because that's the biggest problem that at least we are running into. And maybe we're crazy, but we are crazy, but I have talked to a lot of people that run into the same problem. They don't mind taking calculated risks, but where do you draw that line on a calculated risk? Is it $30, $40 for a pad, a sleeping pad, or is it $100, $200 for a sleeping pad, or is it $10, $15 for a sleeping pad? Like everybody seems to have this line, and it varies depending on the product. And most of us agree we don't mind spending a little bit extra if we know we're going to get a quality product. But especially with where we're going to be bringing some of these supplies in, we are going to be looking at like some of the off-name brands and things like that. And a lot of people are doing that now to save a little bit of money. But you're literally playing roulette with it. Like, you could get an awesome deal, you could get a bad deal. And our whole idea is we're going to try and take that risk out of it. And hopefully just pass on the good deals. Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, I will not put a product on a site that we thought was crap. If we find a product and we go out and we try it and we say, no, it didn't perform as advertised, it didn't perform adequately, that we could trust it in a trip, there's no way we would put that on our site because it would just ruin any reputation we have. So what we're looking for, like you said, is what products did we find that we liked, that we thought was useful. That could be 5 or 6 products. It might be a couple of dozen products. We wouldn't be in this for profit. We don't expect we're going to retire on this or be able to quit our day jobs, as nice as that idea would be. Is what we're looking for is to recoup some of the costs, I guess, of running the channel and stuff. And potentially, if there was profit, we'd end up putting a lot of it into just buying more products to test and expand our stuff. But it would give us more opportunity for videos. So we put more videos on YouTube showing these products and stuff. So it adds on to everything we're already doing. It's to me a natural progression for what we're doing. We've spent over a year making podcasts and stuff, talking about the different stuff we like to do, we do, well, how we can do this stuff. But a lot of it centers around gear. Beyond that, what do you need is location. Everyone is kind of limited by location of where they physically are or how much they can travel. Um, but we all share some pretty well the same gear set. Like where can we get gear and what kind of gear we're using. It doesn't vary a lot from area to area too much. Do you agree?
I completely agree. And to add to that, it's always similar gear that falls into this little space of, am I getting a good deal or am I not getting a good deal? Like, we hope we're going to do a broad spectrum of gear, don't get me wrong. From the supplier we were looking at getting, I'm hoping that, and I mean, this might be separate from this, it might be included in this. Like, there's some archery products in there. I know both yourself and I do a little bit of archery, Ben. Hopefully we can expand into that eventually, maybe offer some other ideas in other specific little niches. But majority,
Majority?
majority, yeah, thank you. The majority of things that we would be looking at would be directly related to bushcraft, so that we are taking the guesswork out that seems to be going on the internet right now. Like, not just Amazon, but GearBest. It's a site that I used to use, and I'm not knocking GearBest, don't get me wrong. Same thing as Amazon. I've had some terrific deals with some amazing little gadgets I've gotten and paid practically nothing for that were probably worth 4 times the amount I bought them for. And I got some real big duds that they weren't worth anything, like literally nothing. And we looked at some of those when we went out camping that time and deep fried the turkey. I brought up a box full of stuff. It had all of these little gizmos and gadgets that I picked up over the last couple of years, and some of them were good. Some of them were terrible. But they all
So
looked good initially.
one of the ones you had, like the little thermometer light, a little gizmo. It had a dozen little things in it. It was a really neat idea. It was relatively cheaply made. It worked adequately well. But I think you said it was only like $5, $6.
Yeah, it was an add-on item for like $6. It had a
Yeah.
thermometer, a hydrometer, so you could tell your relative humidity, which was kind of the nice thing I wanted. And then, like Ben
Yeah.
said, a few other nicky-nacky things. I think it had like tweezers, a fire starter, a magnifying glass, a flashlight, a level, like a whole
Yeah.
bunch of weird stuff jammed in this
And
tiny
all
little
of it
package.
worked. Like all of it worked. I don't. We couldn't guarantee the accuracy. Like if the hydrometer was within like a couple of degrees or maybe 10 degrees, but as humidity went up, it went up. As humidity went down, it went down. Same thing with the temperature. We assumed it was relatively accurate. We couldn't test it because we didn't have something that we had a proven test on. But yeah, everything seemed to work. You know,
And that's one of the things we hope to cure with this is we get a relative baseline. So for a product like that, if I was to take it in, and I hope I can find it on there because it's the first one I was looking for it as the first ones I wanted to test, I would
yeah.
literally compare it to a proper hydrometer and proper thermometer and give the variance of relativity. Because, I mean, even if it's off by 5% on the hydrometer and off by 2 to 3 degrees on the thermometer, as long as you know that going in and the price I paid, still worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And really, like, if it's only off by a couple degree or a couple percent, does it matter for what we do? I mean, we're not baking a cake here. We're trying to live comfortably. Uh, but knowing that when you're camping and that you got cold and it was minus 12ish with a humidity of 20%, that gives you an idea of how your sleeping bag was performing. And you later on you go out and it's minus 12, but it's got a higher humidity or a lower humidity, and you notice the difference. You now know that the humidity is what made the difference, or the temperature is what made the difference. And these types of things really help you in planning your gear for later trips. As you realize what works and what doesn't work, you can dial your gear in so much better, knowing what the predicted weather is. You both try to over prepare for stuff like this, although uh, I think we both admit that our waterfall camping trip maybe wasn't over prepared.
We might not have done so well with that trip, but that was a learning curve.
That was an awesome trip, man. I think back with that with fond memories, but I do remember shivering at night. I do remember being in that hammock and shivering. And I know that you were over there shivering too, because I heard your teeth clatter.
Oh man! Well, the second night we stood beside the fire well into the night just to stay warm.
Yeah.
Both of us were kind of like, well, we should be getting to bed, and throw another log on the fire and be like, oh, just a few more stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, you made a good point that a lot of people overlook when testing gear, which is once again something we hope to cure with this whole idea, is how something as simple as relative humidity does play on some of your gear. Like minus 12 with a 90% humidity, which is kind of unrealistic in cold weather, but you know what I mean. Minus 12 with, let's say, 75% humidity versus minus 12 with a 15% humidity. It's two different types of cold.
Oh, yeah.
Technically both the same temperature, but you're going to find your sleeping bag is going to keep you warmer in one of those instances. And, I'm not going to dip too much into that because that's a perfect podcast for later. But
Oh, yeah.
it has an effect. And that's one of the things that hopefully we could assist with this whole grand scheme of things that we're playing out here. And I call it a scheme because it sounds like a scheme. But we're not trying to scheme you. Like Ben said, we're not trying to get rich. But then I hear, oh, Robert, you're not going to go broke doing this. No, we're not. We are going to try and make a little money. But as Ben said, it's more just to try and, to coin a term that's being thrown around a lot, to flatten the curve of our expenses for this channel. Because realistically, we buy some gear to test for this. We have some reviews up. Ben did a review of a tent. We did a review of a few other things there. And we bought that out of pocket. More because I'm thinking the fire steel, for instance, that I did. I did not need another fire steel, but it looked like a good fire steel to review because it looked like a good fire steel for somebody getting into it. So that's something I paid out of pocket to test for you guys. Don't get me wrong, I probably would have bought it anyway, but we like to do that on a bigger scale too, because a $12 fire steel is a steal, no pun intended, compared to, say, a $300 sleeping bag. Like, do you really want to roll the dice on a $300 sleeping bag and then find out that it's too small for you? Or that it's too short for you? Or that it doesn't necessarily hold up the way it said it should have? And that's kind of the bullet we're looking to swallow for you guys, is we're willing to make some of those risks, but we have to try and keep those risks mediated. I don't mind taking a certain amount of risk, but I don't want to be shelling out $400 every month for products that, 1 out of 5 works. Does that kind of sum it up?
Well, it definitely sums it up. I know it probably doesn't seem like this, but if I sat down and worked out the receipts of what I spent last year that are either directly or indirectly related to our podcast, I could easily guess on $2,000.
Yeah, I mean, the hosting alone, you and I had good many conversations on that. When we were initially hosting our podcast directly off the website, and we did an episode where we explained how we do that now, but our costs were up to about $45 to $50 a month just to keep the space up, the bandwidth up for those files. Because I hear people saying, well, you can go get unlimited space and unlimited bandwidth from X company. The reality is that is not unlimited. That is overselling a product. And once you hit a threshold, they contact you. If you look in your terms of service under that, it's under reasonable usage. And if you're burning through 100 gigs to 400 gigs of transfer a month, which we were, that is not reasonable usage. That falls into what in the hell are you guys doing that's eating up that much bandwidth? And do you own the copyrights for that material?
And we do.
We do. We absolutely do. We didn't have any copyright infringements, but the reality was that was a cost. We were paying that every month.
We were overly shocked that we had that many downloads.
Yeah, the bandwidth alone on that was just outrageous when we started looking at it.
It was beyond anything we expected. And honestly, had we blown up more than we have, it would have been crazy. But we have switched to a different medium now that's definitely helping. And we have no trouble really saying who that is. don't remember off the top of my head.
Anchor.
uh, well,
Anchor is the
Anchor, yes,
company.
Anchor. So Anchor's handling all that for us now, and we're very happy with that. The things we were afraid we'd lose by switching, we didn't really lose, or at least not as bad as we thought it would be. So that was great. Uh, but we've also, like, both of us have upgraded our computers to do this.
Money out of
Uh,
our own pockets, by the way.
I
Just another
bought
example.
I bought that hot tent and a screen, which I haven't had a chance to even test the screen out yet, but that's coming for anyone interested in the. Uh, which one did I buy?
The Black Orca
The Wild
Smoky
Haven.
Hut?
The Wild Haven I got,
Wildhaven.
and I have the screen for it, so I'm going to be testing that out very shortly with the screen. I got a couple of tests with the no screen and the stove in it, and that is an awesome product. I'm very happy with it. I think it's right up there with the Ironside and the Smoky Hut, which are also both from the same company. But interestingly enough, when I did the research for this, you can buy all three of those not under the One Tigress name, but I can't see a difference at all in them under no name names on the web. The only thing is you won't get the warranties and stuff with it, but you get them for a third the cost. So maybe that's worth it.
And I was just answering a comment there for Troy because he made an excellent question, and I'll explain this a little bit. And he said, "Too bad you couldn't get the companies to basically give you the items to test, and then just do reviews, and then there's no cost to us and things like that." And I mean, it's a great plan. I'm going to hesitate at saying scheme on that one because that is a plan. But the reality is, unless you have a starting point somewhere, most companies won't even look at you. Sometimes you fluke into some lucky stuff there, and a great example of that is there's a few of our friends that review some products, and I'm not going to single them out because I don't know if they want us to or not because their private life's their private life. But anyway, they do some stuff like that, and it works out great for them. But the reality is they had to have a user base to begin that with. They spent a lot of money out of their own pockets starting off, which worked out for them. Unfortunately, for us to start there, it's kind of like repeating the wheel. I guess our big part of what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and pole vault past a little bit of that creep curve, if you know what I mean. Like we're going to dive right into the deep end of the pool with our idea, and instead of starting small and getting things small like tarps and stuff, $30 tarps sent to us to review, we're going to, or at least my idea is I'm going to jump like I'm already eyeing up a $400 sleeping bag as one of the first things I review. And I'm really nervous about it already because it is a Chinese product, and nothing wrong with Chinese products, but Chinese products tend to be a little small for good old fat Robert. So I may have a $400 sleeping bag that I'm going to potentially give to my 5-year-old daughter.
It's stocky Robert, not fat Robert.
No, buddy, I passed stocky. The isolation has not been kind. But yeah, and that's the kind of stuff we want to get at because that's where Ben and I really started our gear adventures on. Where we were both looking for sleeping bags, and we both ended up with good sleeping bags. Don't get me wrong. I think we both got ones that are rated to minus 15 or something like that, minus 15, 20, somewhere along there. And we're both happy with them.
And I've had mine down at those temperatures.
I've gone down as low as -5, I think. I haven't gone any lower. Unfortunately, we didn't get out for our winter camping because we were supposed to, and then we got isolated. But anyway, the one I'm looking at is potentially good for -50 degrees Celsius. So I can't picture anywhere where it drops that cold in Nova Scotia. Minus wind chill, of course. I mean, we can get some. I don't think I've even seen it with wind chill, but wind chill's a whole other thing. A sleeping bag isn't going to protect you in a wind chill. You have to break that wind somehow. Once again, topic for another night. But I'm really curious at it because a nice sleeping bag like that, a minimal underquilt. You no longer have to worry about like one of those -20 underquilts. You can literally go with your 3-season underquilt, and you're going to be warm because you're already breaking the wind off it between your $30 tarp, which we already reviewed before. Or no, I didn't. I started that and it got lost when my old computer crashed and I had to build this new one. So there's another one coming soon. But yeah, with your basic tarp, basic hammock, basic underquilt, a lot of money into a sleeping bag, but that whole system could potentially keep you warm. And I mean, if they say minus 50 is the extreme, I will be happy to get like minus 30 out of it without my teeth clattering.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd like to see how packable it is.
They claim it's very similar to what I got. It's goose down.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link. I think it's 4,000 gram goose down or something like that. Like on paper, this thing looks amazing. And price wise, I compared it to similar products, and it's like in the lower 25 percentile for what you'd normally be spending. Normally, you'd be spending around $900 to $1,000 on a sleeping bag like this. So I'm really, really interested in it. I'm also really, really nervous in it. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of things that
4,000 grams, so that's about 10 pounds sleep bag.
yeah, it's heavier, but
Yeah,
compacting size, it's supposed to come down to a little bigger than the size of a basketball.
yeah, okay.
So I mean, I was looking at size more than weight because you know me, my typical weight's about 50 pounds. There is no ultralight with Robert. But I mean, I love to pull the trigger on it, but I'm so sketchy and nervous. Like I don't know, you know what I mean? And that's where a lot of people sit. They would love to pull triggers on things, but they're just so sketched out about it that they never really commit, or they end up going with, oh, I'll just buy this $100 one and hope it does, and then it doesn't. You just wasted $100 and you're back to square one. So that's, to loop around and come back to what we're talking about, that's kind of what we're trying to eliminate. We're trying to give you that option that if you spend $400, you're going to get $400 worth of product. You could potentially get more than $400 worth of product, but we're going to try at least let you get your money's worth out of the products we would recommend. Safe to say?
Yeah, yeah. So sort of along the same line. So you're talking about, here's a product that's selling for 25% of or 50% of what a similar product sells for, a comparable product. And what we've found is that 5 to 10% difference in a lot of products, quality, weight, volume, like these little tiny gains, as the quality of your product goes up, the cost goes up exponentially. So you start off, a cheap item is going to be bulky, it's going to be heavy, and it's not really going to get you to a low temperature. If we use a sleeping bag as an example, as you go up in price, you can go to lower temperatures. It's going to take up less space, and it's going to cost a bit more money. But there is a sweet spot we aim for, and that sweet spot is before it jumps to that huge price jump, but you're still getting high quality, good temperatures, and still not too much bulk. Maybe a more expensive product is 10% lighter, 10% smaller, and 3% warmer. But the reality is it's 100% more expensive. We want to avoid that. We want to find those products that we think give you a massive bang for your buck and really similar specs to the $1,000 product or the much more expensive product. That's the stuff we're looking for. We're looking for those diamonds in the rough, I guess, items to make this something that's more accessible to absolutely everyone. That's not to say that it's going to be free stuff, because we're not going to find that, but we are going to find good products at a good price. That's what we're looking for. That's the market we're looking for. So we have a few ideas. We have a few spots we're looking into. We haven't pulled the trigger on anything, and we're not promising that this is going to come through. What we're really looking for is just feedback and thoughts. Is this something people would be interested in? If absolutely nobody's going to be interested in it, we won't waste their time.
Yeah, because I guess the first thing for everybody to realize is to initially start this, we're already out of money in pocket before we even purchase anything, because to buy into this thing, we have to pay up front. And that's anywhere between $90 and $450, depending on how far down this rabbit hole we want to go. Which is money we just got to cough up and it's gone. We don't even get a return on that, other than we open a door for us to potentially do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we spend $400 and physically have nothing in our hands, and then we can spend another $400 in sample products, which we don't know if there's any discount to that or if we're paying absolute full price that everyone else would pay, and then putting on the site for everyone to buy and getting some percentage of the sales after the fact.
And to be clear, we're not looking, like Ben said, to get rich. We're not going to gouge you guys on these products either. We already talked about it, and we're going to decide on a relatively sane,
Reason.
reasonable markup. Like, you know what I mean? Because we looked at products, and we know there's people, well, we know there's products out there with like 3 to 4 to 500% markup, and that's not what we're looking to do. We're, once again, looking to try and just flatten the curve for us and testing these products to take that gamble out of your guys' hands. And maybe that's not what you're interested in. We don't know. That's what this is about. You know what I mean? We just thought it would have been helpful to us if somebody had done that for us. And we were looking for the next logical progression for where Atlantic Bushcraft could go. Ben said this is going to open up more chances for us to do videos. We can do, well, there's going to be tons of review videos because we're going to review everything. The good ones will make it onto the website. The bad ones will just make it onto YouTube so you can see them. We'll still link to them directly, but we're not going to sell them. If you want to buy it because you think it's a great gag gift or something like that, it'll still be there. You still have that option, but we're just not going to actively promote it on our site. It's going to give us more opportunity. Well, hopefully, give us more opportunities to get to the woods to test these things, because we already talked about it. If we buy, let's say we try and review 4 to 8 things a week. That's or a week, a month, a month. That's good. Like, yeah, I can already hear Melissa loading the shotgun. That's potentially 4 to 8 more videos a month that we'd be putting out just on gear and trips, which hopefully that's stuff you guys want to see as well. So it's kind of like the.
Well, our review videos have been, for YouTube, some of our best done or watched videos. I think we said one of the highest ones was my Wildhaven tent review.
I'm pretty sure it is. Actually, I can tell you here in 2 seconds. I did have it up and then I closed it by accident because I was actually going to pull some of these stats. And as you guys can tell, we're being completely transparent, or trying to be completely transparent on this.
Yeah, if there's anything you think we're not telling you, definitely ask. We were more than happy to tell you. We're not going to. We don't keep secrets. We're not that.
Nobody gains from it.
No, that's not who we are. And sometimes I think our truthfulness is actually a downfall because a lot of people just don't take it for what it truly is. But it is. Like,
yeah, so the best video was the Wildhaven one.
yeah.
And I'm just looking at the analytics here.
Analytics.
Yeah, there you go. Not so good with the English here. But yeah.
It's your third language, right?
What's that?
It is your third language, right?
Gibberish being my first, nonsense being my second, broken English being my third. So yeah, I guess. But
it's
yeah,
my second language. Newfoundlandese being my first.
You know what? I'm better at Newfoundlandese than I am at English. At least I can understand it. I still can't hold a full conversation, but I can understand it. But yeah, that's kind of the whole idea behind this, ladies and gentlemen. Like we said, we're trying to be transparent. If it seems like we're hiding something, it's not on purpose. Either we didn't remember to mention it, or maybe we didn't know to mention it. So if you have questions, great time to jump on the Facebook page. We'll start a post there, and give us your thoughts, comments. If you have questions, fire them up. We'll answer them. Like there's nothing off limits concerning this project that we won't at least attempt to answer for you. Maybe we won't know the answer as well as we should, and I'm going to completely admit that this is going to be a learning experience for us, as almost everything we have done to this point has been for us when it comes to the YouTube channel and the technology involved in doing this. But yeah, we'd really like to get the feedback from you guys to see if this is worthwhile doing or if maybe we're just barking up the wrong tree. And if we are, you know what? No hard feelings. That's cool. But it just seems like nobody's doing this. Like Ben said right at the start, you can go to Mech and get high end stuff that you're most likely overpaying for. You can go to Canadian Tire, get good products at good prices, but don't really fit the niche of bushcrafting because they're more like family camping oriented. Or you can throw the dart online and see what comes out.
Well, you can go to Mech, buy a titanium stove that's weighs more, or at least the same, as a penny stove. But you're going to be paying 30 to 50 bucks for a stove I can make you for 10 cents.
Yeah.
Right? That is the difference. Like you can make the penny stove, the bottom of two pop cans, and I say it costs 10 cents because each can is worth about 5 cents at the recycling depot. The reality is, if you walk down most streets in Nova Scotia, you can find a couple of tin cans, pop cans.
Unfortunately, that is very real.
Cut the bottoms off of them, jam them together, punch some holes around the outside. It's literally this easy. Punch one in the center of one of the same side. Pour a little bit of alcohol into it, and boom! I made one here, I think, on the channel. Well, during a podcast, I believe.
Yeah, we actually you made it and we burnt it.
Yeah.
Did the burn test on it.
It's that simple, and that's I'm not going to try to sell someone something that they can make for 10 cents. That's to me is a no-brainer to make yourself, really. But it's not the sew for every situation. It really isn't. In cold weather, they're hard to start, I find. In other instances, it just may not be what you want to deal with. Liquid gas or a liquid fuel that you got to pour in. They're hard to empty if you want it to shut one off early. There is a risk of filling them when they're hot. Definitely be careful of stuff like that. So I can see why people like canister stoves. I have a canister stove. You have a canister stove. We both used them.
Canister
Good product.
stoves have their ups and downs too, though. A lot of people talk about the ups. Nobody talks about the downs.
I'm not going to tell anyone to try to make their own canister stove. You got pressurized fuel. It's a trickier thing. But the gambit of what you can buy there, it goes everywhere from like $5 to $55 and up and up. You want to get into like the Jetboil ones, which have some neat concepts to it, like the radiator fins on the bottom of the pots and stuff. I think these are all awesome things. These are good products. I think you can hold, like there's one of the Jetboils, you can actually hold the pot in your hand while it's cooking.
Yeah, I remember seeing something about that. But on the flip side of that, on some of the products we were looking at, we laughed about last night, the titanium cup. It'd be great for cold drinks. Probably not so good for hot drinks.
Oh, the little bowl one. Like, yeah. It was like a coffee cup or an espresso cup. And I'm like, if you have 100-degree water in there's no way you're picking that thing up. Not in way of burning your hands. Like, you need like an insulated glove or something to carry it. Like, it's just not sensible. Like, there's no handle, no nothing. Not practical. I don't even think we'd buy one. Honestly.
But you and I might not, but not everybody would know that. Because, I mean, perfect example here, stainless steel cup. Lots of people buy these to do stuff with, and they put hot liquids in them, and all of a sudden they realize they can't hold on to them. No. But, I mean, it's stainless steel. What could be better? You can boil water in this. Just because you can do stuff with it doesn't mean it's the best option for the job.
Yeah. The thing I really want to play with, too, is fishing gear. I'm always looking at fishing gear, but I'm shocked at the cost of some of this stuff. Is it worth it? Maybe. But if you're like me and every other cast you lose something, you don't want to be paying $5, $6, $10 for a lure.
I never have to worry about that because I never have a fish bite.
When I went fishing with Gary and Jeremy, first time fishing for Gasper Lake for like the pickerel, snot rockets they call them. Anyway, those things are vicious, sharp teeth, and they're just like yanking away at them. I get them right up into the boat, gone, hook and everything, they're just gone.
Like I said, I never have to worry because I'd never get the fish. I would. We've learned this, Ben. You're the fisherman. I am moral support.
Right. That's something I want to play a bit more with, some of the fishing gear and stuff. I've seen some neat stuff out there that I really want to try and play with and stuff. Uh, I think we both have a small obsession with tarps. Tarps are awesome. I think I would take a tarp over a tent most days. Tents have their place. I love tents too. Don't get me wrong, but tarps are so versatile. So many options. You get to the site, you can set up whatever you need really. But there's so many products out there, and there's so many options. It'd be just nice to have someone that can sort of be a guide to going through some of this stuff, take some of the risks, and be entertaining. And I think we can be quite entertaining, especially with our failures.
I was gonna say I keep going back to the review somebody gave us on, I think it was Apple. It's better than Poison Ivy. Well, can't argue with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. We had the odd one of, we can't make everybody happy, and we realize that. So whoever was out there that gave us the bad review, we're sorry. Oh well, I didn't lose sleep over it.
I'm not sorry. I am who I am. I can't really change for anyone. I've tried.
If you didn't like the podcast, come watch the live shows. They're a lot more entertaining. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Anyone who makes it to Nova Scotia wants to try. We'll try and get you out for at least a night. And we'll be entertaining, anyways.
Not that we get everything right, but we are entertaining.
You can go back and tell your friends with those idiots.
Those fools deep fried a turkey in the woods. They're crazy. But we're entertaining.
But if I asked you to go deep fry a turkey anytime then right now, you'd go with me.
You know what? It's almost worth breaking the isolation over. Not going to lie.
Oh, all I got to do is maintain six feet between us.
Well, that's just it. We stand 6 feet apart from the turkey and we just take turns. Don't cough on the turkey. Things are good.
Split right down the middle. Slice it down.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much the point we were trying to make, and I don't think there's a lot more that we can say about it other than that, because it's just, for lack of a better term, it's a working theory right now, or a working idea. And before we kind of pulled the trigger on that, we wanted to know what you guys thought of it. So we don't mind taking risks, but we always try to make it calculated risks. Safe to say that?
Oh yeah, I love to calculate my risks. Sometimes even when they look bad, I still do it. But I know that it's probably going to turn out poorly.
But at least we know going in it would turn out poorly, or the potential's there for it to turn out poorly, or there's more potential for it to turn out poorly, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, I think that's about it for that. Because I think we'll just start working ourselves in circles more than we already have. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. I'm definitely going to start a comment or something in the Facebook page. I'll link it to the YouTube comments so that anybody who wants to can bop over there and post up their thoughts. And worst case, if you don't do Facebook, you don't have a YouTube account, you just kind of work around and do the anonymous thing, shoot us an email. Podcast at Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. I think it's, well, the website's down there. Just put podcast in front of it. And, yeah, we'll just read the email. That's fine, too.
We actually have 2 email addresses. We just never talked with the other one, eh?
That's true.
I'm just trying to pull out. I think it's just Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures at gmail.com. Yeah. So I think that's what it is.
So either way, or just
Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures at Gmail.
Yeah.
We got it for various reasons, and I think I'm the only one that uses it.
You use that one, and I think we both use the pod. Yeah, it goes to both of us. The podcast at Atlantic.
Yeah, the podcast ones come to both of us, and anything of relevant importance to the other one, I forward on to you right away. We do get a little bit of junk mail on that one.
That's the reality of it, right? So.
Yeah. But it gave us access to some Google services and stuff.
And yeah, so I think that wraps it up for me tonight, at least. Ben, was there any closing remarks you wanted to roll out with?
No, just like every time we're telling people, get out there and be safe. Be aware of today's climate. Not just weather-wise, but I do know like there's a lot of weird restrictions on there that we're working our way through. They seem to really be cracking down on vehicles being parked at trails and stuff right now. So do be a lot more careful. I'm never going to tell someone don't get out and camp. I haven't got out as much as I would love to in the last few weeks, and that's hurting me. But if you get the chance or the opportunity to get out there, but yeah, do take it safe. Do be careful. Realize that right now, I can't really, I'm not saying anything official, but reality is a lot of the services, the fire department, search and rescue, uh, they're being held back a little bit. Not in a bad way. It's just they're trying to protect everyone. So if you get in a bad situation, there could be more of a delay than normal before help gets to you. Um, and I think that's worth mentioning.
For sure.
So calculate that into your risks when you go out there. I'm definitely not telling people don't go out there, but just be aware that if you do get into trouble, it may be a little bit longer than normal before help can arrive. So take those extra precautions to make sure you don't need the help. You're not necessarily putting someone else at risk by having them come get you, or just yourself at a greater risk because it could be 15 minutes or a couple hours longer than it would have normally been for someone to get out to you. I believe a lot of fire departments have stopped responding to medical calls for the most part.
Uh, yeah, it's literally that to that point where we've been asked to. I don't want to get into the specifics of it because I don't know what's out there for the specifics of it, but
No.
the scope of what we do has changed drastically due to the current pandemic situation. Anytime that there's a suspected risk of COVID-19 being involved, red flags go up.
Yeah.
Just simply approaching a potential patient has changed. We have to go through a process, ask questions. Like Ben said, this is just slowing things down. Not that you can't get help, just it's going to take a little longer. And please, please, please be aware of that. Don't get yourself into any unnecessary risks that you don't need.
Yeah.
And on the search and rescue part, I know your guys' plans have changed in the way you handle things as well. And same thing, we don't need to get into the details of it because the reality
Well,
is it's just changed.
it's they've changed and they're going to continue to change. I know that every organization out there, every company is looking at their rules, their standards, their processes. They're refining them. They're improving them. They're uh, it has an effect. It's a living, breathing operation right now, and everything is changing on the fly. So from moment to moment, everything can and will change. So just it's something else to keep in mind when you're out there. But yeah, I still highly encourage people to get out there, be safe, have fun, maintain the social distancing because I do believe it's going to work. And we are, I think, going to get through this. Most people will get through this okay. Not everyone. We're not making that promise, but be safe, maintain the social distancing, and you will be a hero in to someone somehow.
And I mean, it may not seem significant, but everybody doing their part is a small gear in a big machine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to hear from you guys. I guess we'll say goodnight, and we'll be talking. Like I said, we're always open to any of the means. Reach out to us. Love to hear from you.
And worst thing, just because I want to mention it because of last week's episode, it sucks fishing season got delayed. We are aware of this.
I fully take responsibility for that. If we hadn't brought Gary on and we hadn't talked about it, they wouldn't have put it in the government's mind.
I blame Gary.
No,
I'm just blaming Gary because he's not here. He's not in the comments. He's not here.
I know Stephen McNeil personally listens to us, and he said, "Oh, look, Ben and Robert were talking about fishing. Now everyone's going to be out fishing, and we have to shut it down."
Yep, screw those guys. We shut it down. But no, realistically, guys, there was a purpose behind it. We don't have to agree with it. It's just what's been decided. It is what it is. But yeah, still sucks.
Well, even this is a bit off topic. I'm going to throw it out there though. If you got people out there fishing, wildlife representatives are out there, they're going to have to ask for, do you have licenses and stuff? That's physical touching. You're touching your license. They have to touch it. They're handing it back. It's exposing more and more people. And they do have, they do have to follow the rules, the processes and stuff. It's not great. It's
Not to mention those people could be doing other duties during the pandemic time. Like they
a
have
lot of,
other responsibilities they could potentially need to be doing. So
and if anything happens while you're out fishing, it's more people involved to come help you and stuff. So people staying home, people staying out of trouble. It gives the ambulance drivers the ability to help the people who are getting sick from the pandemic. It allows the police, the fire department, all the other organizations to be concentrating their efforts where they need to be concentrated on. It does suck. We feel it. I'm sure you guys feel it. I know Gary's feeling it. Poor guy probably cried when he heard it.
it seems we're going down that rabbit hole anyway. Real quickly, same as the burn ban. Everybody's like, well, why is there a burn ban on? There's 6 inches of snow on the ground. The real
You got 6 inches of snow?
Oh yeah, we still got 6 inches of snow here.
An
Realistically, oh no, we still got literally like 6 inches of snow here. Realistically, it's the what if. 99.99999% of the time, nothing's going to happen. You can't burn. We get it. We understand. But the reality is that 0.0001%, it gets away from them. Up where Ben is, there's less snow. Like, we don't know what the conditions are all around the province. They're changing daily because the weather's crazy. That 1%, it gets away. You now have to call in natural resources. You get some local volunteer fire departments. The police are potentially there. All of these people are now going to be working in close quarters, all because you couldn't resist the urge to light a fire. And that includes fire pits and chimeneas and stuff like that. Like, there's a complete ban on right now, and this is why. It's not because of nothing should happen. It's what happens if it does happen. Yeah. So that's kind of why they did it. It's a blanket thing. It sucks. It's the same as fishing season. We get it. We understand. We think it sucks too, but the reality is there is a reason behind it. And that's kind of somewhat why. It's just the what if. We're in a state where we can't even play with the what ifs. Because that's
if we had to evacuate one community. If you had to evacuate one community for a forest fire, where would you put those people and maintain social distance? And you can't. We don't have that ability anymore. And honestly, you know what I was doing when I found out that there was a fire ban on?
Hopefully not making fires.
No, I was welding up a outdoor fire pit. I had some old rims. I was welding up into one of these outdoor fire pits. So I just welded 2 rims together. I was getting ready to weld the third one on. And I heard that they're banning fires within 1,000 feet of woods or something.
Yeah, they're back to the old standards. It has to be 1,000 feet of any standing woods, and nothing combustible around. Basically, it's just safe to say no open burning period. In HRM, just no burning period. That includes chimeneas and stuff like that. And that's why. It's the what if. That one little spark that just happened to wander off and that 1 in a million chance created a fire.
Yeah.
We're in a time where we can't deal with that 1 in a million chance. It's just added stress to a system that's already beginning to be stressed. So they took it out. And realistically, guys, it's a month. Once again, it sucks, but it's 30 days.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Right. Schools are shut down in May, but honestly, reality is the federal government has expected June 1st would be the earliest that these restrictions would be raised. So.
Yeah. It is what it is. Everybody's doing their part. All we can do is just knuckle down and keep marching forward. You know what I mean? The only thing that we accomplish by not following this is dragging it out longer, honestly.
Yeah.
So we can either just knuckle down, do what we need to do for a short time, or drag our heels and pretend to do what we need to do for a long time. That makes sense?
100%. Yeah. Neither one of us enjoy this, but we're both living it to the best of our abilities. I know you're an essential worker. I'm somewhat of important, I guess, because I'm still employed.
It's
But
creepy driving to town or to work sometimes. Like around here, unfortunately, it seems like people aren't abiding to it as much as they should. There's still a lot of cars on the road. Either that or this community just has a lot of essential workers, which is also potentially possible, I guess. But when you get out around on the highway and stuff, is it ever weird, man? Just it's like creepy ghost town.
I would know. I've been working from home, so like I look out the window every now and then and see cars come and go occasionally, but it's pretty dead around here. Uh, we go for an hourly walk, an hour, half-hour walk every day around noon.
Well, it's still getting out. And the government is encouraging that. Like, don't anyone misunderstand. The government is still encouraging you to get out and walk, do your thing, stay out of parks. The reason they close parks down is because that's where people congregate. But get out, walk around your neighborhood, respect that 6 foot isolation, and
Yeah.
carry on. All right, I think that's enough. Have a good night, everybody.
Not out.
Thanks for joining us, Troy. Have a good one.